Leryandro Paredes is finally facing real consequences. And this time, it's not an $18,000 fine that disappears into petty cash before anyone even notices. These are real consequences, the kind that can stop a professional footballer from playing the game. And after everything that's happened over the last few days, those consequences have become far more serious than anyone first expected. Because Paredes didn't just grab someone by the throat in a World Cup final. He didn't just kick a ball into the Dutch bench back in 2022. And he didn't just post about the greatest Argentina team in history while already under investigation. He did something else this week, while that investigation was still ongoing and the suspensions had already been confirmed. Something so perfectly timed, so unbelievably on brand, so completely Leryandro Paredes, that it may have turned a serious punishment into a historic one. And somehow, this story keeps getting more unbelievable with every new detail. Let's begin with where things stand right now, because the charges alone, even before what happened this week, are much more serious than most people realize. FIFA has officially charged Leryandro Paredes with 4 separate disciplinary offenses. 3 counts of assault under Article 14 of FIFA's disciplinary code, plus 1 additional charge of unsporting behavior. FIFA's own prosecutor listed every incident individually. The first assault charge, grabbing Eric Garcia by the neck, a chokehold confirmed by FIFA's prosecutor. Not a shove. Not a simple push. A chokehold on a 24-year-old player who was trying to separate others. The second charge, dragging Gavi to the ground while holding him by the collar. Wrestling a 21-year-old to the pitch in front of billions watching around the world. The third charge, pushing Gavi in the face while he was already on the ground. A completely separate act after the first incident had already happened. 3 documented acts of aggression involving 2 different players in less than 30 seconds. And on top of those, FIFA added a separate charge for unsporting behavior, covering his overall conduct and attitude beyond the physical incidents themselves. For charges from 1 confrontation after 1 football match. And here's why that matters. Under FIFA's disciplinary code, every assault charge carries a minimum suspension of 3 international matches. 3 assault charges mean a minimum of 9 matches before anything else is even considered. The unsporting behavior charge carries a minimum additional suspension, bringing the total to at least 10 international matches. That is the absolute minimum possible outcome if FIFA applies the lightest punishment available for every charge. But the story doesn't end there. That 10-match suspension is only the starting point. It's the baseline before FIFA even considers previous behavior, before they revisit 2022, before they examine what happened this week with Boca Juniors. 10 matches is where this case begins, not where it finishes. FIFA has already confirmed they are not only reviewing what happened in New Jersey, they are also examining repeated patterns of behavior involving every player under investigation. That means prosecutors are reviewing footage from this tournament and previous competitions as well. Since July 19th, social media has been flooded with older clips showing Paredes repeatedly targeting opponents around the neck. Not just once. Multiple incidents across multiple competitions, stretching back several years. Fans around the world have been finding these clips, sharing them, and comparing them directly with what happened in New Jersey. The targeting of the neck, the chokehold, no longer appears to be a single emotional reaction. It increasingly looks like a repeated habit. And every one of those clips is now circulating at exactly the same time FIFA prosecutors are trying to determine whether this is a pattern of behavior or simply an isolated incident. FIFA confirmed they are investigating repeated behavior, and the internet has effectively handed them an entire archive of evidence. An archive that grew even larger this week when Paredes stepped onto the pitch for Boca Juniors. This is where the story takes another unexpected turn. Boca Juniors versus Newell's Old Boys. Argentine Primera División. Only his second competitive club match after the World Cup final. In the 69th minute, play was stopped. The ball was dead. Paredes picked it up and deliberately kicked it straight at Newell's player Facundo Guch during the stoppage. A dead ball deliberately kicked at an opponent while play was stopped. Sound familiar? Because it should. It's almost identical to what happened in the 2022 World Cup when he kicked the ball into the Netherlands bench. Same player. Same behavior. For years later, In only his second match after a World Cup final where he is already under investigation for 4 disciplinary charges, including 3 counts of assault. Honestly, it's difficult to believe. Even after everything that had already happened, this was still unexpected. While already facing an active FIFA investigation, he produced another incident almost identical to one from his past. The referee showed a yellow card, but that's not the important part. What matters is this. FIFA prosecutors are currently reviewing video evidence to determine whether Leryandro Paredes has a consistent behavioral pattern, whether these are repeated actions rather than isolated moments. And this week, while they were doing exactly that, Paredes handed them another fresh clip to examine. BANS Sports reported that sources close to the investigation believe Paredes could receive one of the toughest individual punishments to come out of this entire tournament. That strongly suggests the minimum suspension is no longer considered the likely outcome. But this investigation is no longer only about Paredes. This week, FIFA also revealed the full scope of its investigation into the Argentine Football Association, and it's much larger than many people first reported. Beyond the individual disciplinary cases involving Paredes, Molina, and assistant coach Ayala, FIFA has opened formal proceedings against the AFA itself for breaches committed across multiple matches during the tournament, not only the final. The allegations include discriminatory chants and gestures, delayed kickoffs, failures to follow match and security protocols, inappropriate messages displayed by players and supporters, and objects thrown by spectators. That investigation covers the racist chanting, the Falklands banner, the ISHO speed racism incident, beer bottles thrown toward Cape Verde supporters, the Israeli flag waved toward Egypt's coaching staff, and several other incidents throughout the tournament. FIFA is no longer investigating one chaotic night in New Jersey. They are investigating what they believe may have been a tournament-long pattern involving both the national team and sections of its supporters. If found guilty, the AFA could face significant financial penalties and potentially restrictions affecting future hosting opportunities, something especially important considering Argentina is expected to co-host the 2030 World Cup. In the past, incidents like these might have ended with another small fine and everyone moving on. But this time feels different. FIFA is facing more pressure than it has in years. The UEFA boycott discussions surrounding FIFA Forward Enterprise, the controversy over Infantino's letter praising Argentina while investigations were still open, the leaked AFA letter, the petition calling for Argentina's ban from the World Cup, and parliamentary discussions in the UK have all placed FIFA under enormous scrutiny. Infantino is defending FIFA's credibility on multiple fronts at the same time. And because of that, the Argentina disciplinary investigation has become impossible to handle quietly. Journalists covering the FIFA Forward controversy are also covering this investigation. Politicians demanding accountability over the Infantino letter are watching what happens with Paredes. The two stories have become closely connected, and FIFA's credibility now depends on whether it delivers a meaningful outcome somewhere. The last thing FIFA needs right now is another quiet $18,000 fine. Another investigation that ends without meaningful consequences. Another Argentina player walking away while the entire football world watches. And then Paredes kicked another dead ball directly at an opponent during a stoppage. While under investigation, while prosecutors were reviewing evidence, while the entire world was paying attention, he may have handed FIFA